Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're really going deep on this one. It's Sovereignty Restored by Conrad Riker.
Oh, yeah. This is a fascinating one.
Yeah, and this one really digs into the whole what does it mean to be a man today thing.
Sure.
And especially, I know a lot of you guys are really interested in like the unspoken expectations in relationships, like
Mm-hmm.
those covert contracts that Riker talks about,
Mm-hmm.
and how these kind of societal shifts that we're seeing, how they affect those dynamics.
Absolutely. Yeah, Riker really, I think, challenges a lot of the common narratives that we're seeing around masculinity today, especially the negative ones.
Right.
He seems to be offering a way forward instead of just complaining.
Okay, so like instead of just saying modern society is bad for men, he's saying here's how to navigate it effectively.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And he uses all these examples like historical figures, warriors, philosophers, knights,
Yep.
to show that masculinity isn't inherently toxic.
Right.
These were men who built civilizations, defended their people, created art and philosophy. We can learn from them.
So it's about reclaiming those positive aspects of those traditional roles,
Mm-hmm.
not just blindly going back to the past.
Right. He's not saying scrap everything modern, but he's saying there are some things we've lost along the way.
Okay.
For example, he talks about self-discipline and mental fortitude as essential tools for navigating, the pressures of modern life.
Right.
He suggests starting each day with like even a 5-minute reflection on your values, just to kind of like strengthen that internal compass.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because it is so easy to get swept up in all the chaos of like daily life and all these conflicting messages bombarded with.
Right. And that's where his concept of personal sovereignty comes in.
Okay.
It's about taking ownership of your thoughts, your emotions, and actions, and not letting yourself be dictated to by external forces.
And he even talks about the importance of community in that journey, almost like having that support system of other guys who are trying to reclaim that sovereignty.
He sees brotherhood as crucial, especially when facing ideologies that, might be trying to undermine traditional values.
Right.
Men need to support each other and build each other up.
Yeah, that really resonates with what a lot of guys are feeling these days, like that need for connection and shared purpose.
Yeah.
Now, Riker's views on traditional gender roles and male leadership, they could be seen as controversial.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to believe that they're necessary for a stable and harmonious society,
Yeah.
even if that goes against some of the modern thinking.
It's definitely a perspective that challenges the status quo. He seems to be saying that, men and women have distinct strengths.
Yeah.
And when those strengths are recognized and utilized, society functions better.
Okay.
And by embracing those traditional roles, we can achieve a more natural balance.
He even ties that concept of personal sovereignty into the hero's journey,
He does.
like using examples like Churchill or Edison to show how overcoming adversity actually strengthens you.
Right. He argues that facing challenges is crucial for growth. And he uses those figures to illustrate that point. Think about a time when you faced a major setback in your own life.
Oh, wow.
How did you overcome it?
Right?
Did it force you to tap into a strength you didn't know you had?
Yeah, that's a really powerful way to look at it.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that those difficult experiences often shape us in ways we might not appreciate at the time.
Exactly. Riker would say it's about facing those shadows, those parts of ourselves we'd rather ignore.
Okay.
By confronting them, we become more whole and integrated as individuals.
So it's not about denying our flaws, but about acknowledging them and working through them.
Right. He sees it as essential for personal development and achieving true sovereignty.
Now, Riker also talks a lot about spirituality, right?
Mhm.
He seems to think it's pretty important, especially for men.
It's like having a compass in a chaotic world.
Okay.
Riker believes that men are inherently drawn to a spiritual path, a search for meaning and purpose beyond the material. It's about finding that internal compass to guide you.
He's not necessarily talking about organized religion, though, is he?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
He emphasizes discipline and ritual, but encourages personal exploration over blind dogma. It's
Okay.
more about connecting to something greater than yourself, however you define that.
Right.
He even shares this fascinating anecdote about his own spiritual guide who emphasized critical thinking and personal experience over just blind acceptance.
So it's more about developing your own understanding of meaning and purpose rather than following a preset path.
Exactly. He believes that this personal exploration is crucial for finding a sense of grounding in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain.
That makes sense because it's easy to feel lost without some sense of direction.
Right.
Now, Riker also spends a lot of time talking about leadership,
Yes.
and it seems like a topic he's pretty passionate about.
Absolutely. He delves into the concept of authority and its role in personal and societal contexts.
Okay.
And he argues that true authority comes from responsibility, not just from a position of power. And he also challenges this modern view that all authority is oppressive, arguing that it's actually necessary for structure and guidance.
That's an interesting point because we often hear so much about like dismantling systems of authority,
Right.
but Riker seems to be saying that we need to understand them better and perhaps reclaim the positive aspects of them.
Right. He believes that true leadership involves a willingness to make tough decisions and guide others, not just dictate or control.
Right.
And he also talks about the pressure that men face to be both decisive and sensitive.
Oh, yeah. That's a tricky balance to strike in today's world, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Riker sees it as a sort of double bind for men. They're
Right.
told to be strong leaders, but also to be emotionally available and in touch with their feelings.
Right.
It's no wonder some guys feel lost.
Yeah. It really is that like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't kind of thing.
Exactly.
Now he even talks about the importance of intuition in decision making.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems a little counterintuitive given his emphasis on logic and discipline.
He acknowledges that it can be a powerful tool, but it needs to be balanced with careful consideration. It's like he's saying, trust your gut, but don't let it run the show entirely.
Okay, so it's about finding that balance between instinct and thoughtful analysis.
Precisely. He emphasizes the importance of using both your head and your heart when making important choices.
Then Riker shifts gears and talks about relationships, specifically navigating them from a masculine perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And he really emphasizes setting boundaries and establishing trust.
He sees those as essential for healthy relationships.
Yeah.
And he delves into the idea of male leadership in relationships.
Okay.
Emphasizing that it's not about dominance or control, but about guidance and support.
So it's about being a source of stability and direction.
Exactly. He uses the analogy of a captain steering a ship.
Right.
The captain is responsible for guiding the ship safely through the waters, not just barking orders or demanding obedience.
I love that analogy. It's a great way to illustrate that point. He also talks about supporting women in fulfilling their roles without sacrificing one's own identity as a man.
Right. He sees it as a balancing act.
Okay.
Finding that harmonious interplay between the masculine and feminine energies within the relationship, both partners need to feel supported and fulfilled.
And he touches on the topic of sexuality as well, doesn't he?
He does.
Okay.
He believes that it's an important part of a healthy relationship.
Right.
And that couples need to communicate openly and understand each other's needs and desires.
Okay.
Honest and open communication is essential for a fulfilling sexual relationship.
Yeah, and that seems like good advice for any relationship,
Yeah.
not just romantic ones.
Absolutely.
Now, I know Riker is quite critical of the toxic masculinity narrative.
He is. He feels that it paints a distorted picture of what it means to be a man.
Right.
And can potentially harm men's mental health.
It sounds like he thinks it's doing more harm than good.
He believes it's leading to a crisis of masculinity where men are unsure of their place in society and are afraid to express their true selves.
He also talks about the rise of feminism and cultural Marxism.
Yes.
Right, suggesting that they've had a negative impact on society.
It's important to note that these are Riker's interpretations of these complex ideologies.
Right.
And they may not resonate with everyone.
Okay.
But his point is that these ideologies have had a significant impact on how we view masculinity and men's roles in society.
So it's about being aware of those influences and how they might be shaping our perceptions, even if we don't agree with everything Riker says.
Exactly. It's about being critical thinkers and forming our own informed opinions.
Okay, so that's a really good overview of some of the key ideas in Sovereignty Restored.
Yes, it is.
And I think it sets the stage for a deeper dive into some of these specific topics.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to exploring them further.
Me too. Let's jump right in.
Okay.
Riker delves into this concept of the anima and the animus, those Jungian concepts of masculine and feminine energies that exist within all of us.
Right. Those archetypes.
Right. And he suggests that men are often pressured to suppress their emotions.
Yes.
To be stoic and unemotional,
Mm-hmm.
which he sees as harmful.
Right.
He believes that integrating both masculine and feminine aspects of ourselves is crucial for achieving wholeness.
Absolutely.
So it's not about denying our emotions, but learning to understand and manage them.
Exactly. Riker argues that tapping into empathy and compassion,
Right.
qualities that are traditionally labeled as feminine, can actually make you a more effective leader, not less of a man.
That's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Because it challenges that idea that men need to fit into this rigid box of what's considered masculine.
Right. He's saying that true strength comes from embracing the full spectrum of human experience,
Okay.
not just the traditional masculine aspect.
Now, Riker doesn't shy away from tackling some of the more controversial aspects of our culture.
No, he doesn't.
He's got some pretty strong opinions about what he calls the shadow of society.
He's particularly critical of the toxic masculinity
Right.
narrative, arguing that it actually demonizes men and creates this climate of fear and shame.
It sounds like he thinks it's doing more harm than good.
He believes it's leading to this crisis of masculinity,
Yeah.
where men are unsure of their place in society and afraid to express their true selves.
He also touches on the rise of feminism and cultural Marxism,
He does.
right, suggesting they've played a role in creating this crisis.
Yes. It's important to acknowledge that these are complex issues.
Of course.
And Riker's views might not align with everyone's perspective.
Right.
But his point is that these ideologies have had a significant impact
Right.
on how we view masculinity and men's roles in society.
So it's about being aware of those influences and how they might be shaping our perceptions, even if we don't agree with everything Riker says.
Exactly. It's about being critical thinkers
Yeah.
and forming our own informed opinions.
Okay, so that's a really good point.
Yeah.
And, this kind of connects to his discussion of myth and symbol in modern life.
All right.
Like, he suggests that these ancient stories and archetypes actually hold timeless wisdom.
They do.
Like the hero's journey that he mentioned earlier.
Exactly. He believes that these archetypal stories, like the hero's journey, offer a blueprint for navigating the challenges of life.
So it's not just about entertainment.
No.
It's about understanding those universal patterns of human behavior that are reflected in those myths.
Right. And they can serve as powerful models for men, inspiring them to embrace their own challenges and strive for personal growth.
Okay.
Even those darker shadow aspects that we talked about earlier.
He even relates this to relationships, doesn't he?
He does.
He seems to approach them from a very masculine perspective.
He emphasizes clear communication, setting boundaries, and establishing trust as the foundational elements in any healthy relationship.
Right. And those are important in any relationship, really.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a romantic or not.
Yeah.
But he also talks about male leadership within those relationships.
Yes, he does.
Right.
He sees it as a crucial aspect of a balanced partnership.
Okay.
It's not about dominance or control,
Right.
but about providing guidance, support, and direction.
Right.
He uses that analogy of a captain steering a ship.
Right.
Right.
So he's saying that men should take a more active role in guiding the relationship.
He believes it's about navigating those challenges together,
Right.
being a source of strength and stability.
He also discusses traditional gender roles in relationships, which can be a pretty controversial topic.
It can be.
What's his take on that?
He suggests that men and women have distinct and complementary roles that contribute to a harmonious partnership.
Okay.
He acknowledges that these are traditional views,
Right.
and they might not resonate with everyone,
Right.
but recognizing those differences can actually lead to a more balanced and fulfilling partnership,
Yeah.
even within the context of, evolving social norms.
He also touches on the topic of sexuality, right?
He does.
Emphasizing the importance of open communication and mutual understanding.
He sees it as a vital aspect of a healthy relationship,
Okay.
and that couples should strive for a level of sexual compatibility that brings joy and fulfillment to both partners.
Right.
Open and honest communication is key.
Now, Riker doesn't sugarcoat the challenges that men face in today's world,
No, he doesn't.
especially when it comes to relationships.
Right.
He's very critical of what he sees as double standards,
Yes.
where men are expected to be emotionally strong, yet also sensitive and vulnerable.
It does seem like men are often caught in a bind when it comes to expressing their emotions.
Yeah, it's like society sends mixed messages about how men should behave.
It does.
Now, he also talks about vulnerability, suggesting that true vulnerability isn't about weakness,
No.
but about authenticity and honesty with your partner.
Right. It's about being your true self, even when it's scary or uncomfortable.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
And this ties back to one of Riker's central themes,
Sure.
this idea of confronting societal shadows.
Right.
Like, he believes that men need to be willing to challenge those narratives that are harmful to them, even when it's unpopular.
He does.
He specifically calls out the negative impacts of feminism and cultural Marxism.
Yes. Again, it's important to remember that these are Riker's interpretations of these complex ideologies.
Right.
And that they might not align with everyone's views.
Right, but we're just trying to understand his perspective here.
Exactly.
Right.
He encourages men to be critical thinkers,
Okay.
to question the narratives they are presented with,
Right.
and to form their own informed opinions.
It's about engaging with these ideas thoughtfully,
Yeah.
even if we disagree with them.
Exactly. It's about being informed and having the courage to stand up for what you believe in.
Okay. So we've covered a lot of ground here,
We have.
but it seems like we've only just scratched the surface of what Riker explores in this book.
We have. There's so much more to unpack.
So much more to unpack.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and dive even deeper.
Sounds good. Yeah, it really is a comprehensive look at the challenges and opportunities that men are facing today. And, this idea of reclaiming those positive aspects of masculinity, it connects back to his discussion of the anima and animus,
Oh, right.
those Jungian concepts.
Yeah, he mentioned that earlier. Can you remind me how that ties into personal sovereignty?
Sure. So Riker suggests that men are often pressured to suppress their emotions, to be stoic, unemotional, which he sees as harmful.
Okay.
He believes that integrating both those masculine and feminine aspects of ourselves is actually crucial for achieving wholeness.
So it's not about denying our emotions, but learning to understand and manage them.
Exactly. Riker argues that tapping into empathy and compassion qualities that are traditionally labeled as feminine can actually make you a more effective leader, not less of a man.
That's an interesting perspective. It challenges the idea that men need to fit into this rigid box of what's considered masculine.
Right. He's saying that true strength comes from embracing the full spectrum of human experience, not just the traditionally masculine aspects.
Now, Riker doesn't shy away from tackling some of the more controversial aspects of our culture.
No, he doesn't.
He has some pretty strong opinions about what he calls the shadow of society.
He's particularly critical of the toxic masculinity narrative, arguing that it demonizes men and creates a climate of fear and shame.
It sounds like he thinks it's doing more harm than good.
He believes it's leading to a crisis of masculinity where men are unsure of their place in society and afraid to express their true selves.
He also touches on the rise of feminism and cultural Marxism, right?
He does.
Suggesting that they've played a role in creating this crisis.
Yes. It's important to acknowledge that these are complex issues, and Riker's views might not align with everyone's perspectives.
Of course.
But his point is that these ideologies have had a significant impact on how we view masculinity and men's roles in society.
So it's about being aware of those influences and how they might be shaping our perceptions, even if we don't agree with everything Riker says.
Exactly. It's about being critical thinkers and forming our own informed opinions. And, this connects to his discussion of myth and symbol in modern life.
Okay.
Like, he suggests that these ancient stories and archetypes actually hold timeless wisdom.
Well, like the hero's journey.
Yeah.
You mentioned that earlier.
He believes that these archetypal stories, like the hero's journey, offer a blueprint for navigating the challenges of life.
So it's not just about entertainment.
No.
It's about understanding those universal patterns of human behavior that are reflected in those myths.
Right. And they can serve as powerful models for men, inspiring them to embrace their own challenges and strive for personal growth, even those darker shadow aspects that he talked about earlier.
He even relates this to relationships, doesn't he?
He does.
He seems to approach them from a very masculine perspective.
He emphasizes clear communication, setting boundaries, and establishing trust as foundational elements in any healthy relationship.
Right. And those are important in any relationship, romantic or otherwise.
Absolutely.
But he also talks about male leadership within relationships, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He sees it as a crucial aspect of a balanced partnership. It's not about dominance or control, but about providing guidance, support, and direction. He uses that analogy of a captain steering a ship.
I remember that analogy. It's a good one.
Yeah.
So he's saying that men should take a more active role in guiding the relationship.
He believes it's about navigating challenges together, being a source of strength and stability. He also discusses traditional gender roles in relationships, which can be a controversial topic.
Yeah, that's definitely going to spark some debate. What's his take on that?
He suggests that men and women have distinct complementary roles that contribute to a harmonious partnership. He acknowledges that these are traditional views and they might not resonate with everyone.
So it's about understanding those traditional roles, even if we choose to adapt them to fit our modern lives.
He argues that recognizing those differences can lead to a more balanced and fulfilling partnership, even within the context of evolving social norms.
He also touches on the topic of sexuality, right?
He does.
Emphasizing the importance of open communication and mutual understanding.
He sees it as a vital aspect of a healthy relationship. Riker stresses that couples should strive for a level of sexual compatibility that brings joy and fulfillment to both partners. Open and honest communication is key.
Now, Riker doesn't sugarcoat the challenges men face in today's world,
Oh, he doesn't.
especially in relationships.
Right.
He's very critical of what he sees as double standards, where men are expected to be emotionally strong, yet also sensitive and vulnerable.
It does seem like men are often caught in a bind when it comes to expressing their emotions.
Yeah, it's like society sends mixed messages about how men should behave.
It does.
Now, he also talks about vulnerability,
Hmm.
suggesting that true vulnerability isn't about weakness,
No.
but about authenticity and honesty with your partner.
Right. It's about being your true self, even when it's scary or uncomfortable.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And, this ties back to one of Riker's central themes, this idea of confronting societal shadows.
Right. Yeah.
Like, he believes that men need to be willing to challenge those narratives that are harmful to them, even when it's unpopular.
He does.
He specifically calls out the negative impacts of feminism and cultural Marxism.
Yes. Again, it's important to remember that these are Riker's interpretations of these complex ideologies,
Right.
and they might not align with everyone's views.
Right. But we're just trying to understand his perspective here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He encourages men to be critical thinkers,
Okay.
to question the narratives they are presented with,
Right.
and to form their own informed opinions.
So it's about engaging with these ideas thoughtfully, even if we disagree with them.
Exactly. It's about being informed and having the courage to stand up for what you believe in. And, this connects to his emphasis on ancient wisdom and traditions.
All right.
Right.
He seems to think they offer valuable guidance for navigating the modern world.
He argues that those ancient teachings contain timeless insights into human nature, morality, and the pursuit of a meaningful life.
He specifically mentions Stoicism.
Right.
I've heard that mentioned a lot lately.
He sees it as a philosophy that can be particularly helpful for men in today's world. Stoicism emphasizes self-control, virtue, and acceptance of what we cannot control.
So it's about focusing on what we can control, our own thoughts and actions,
Yeah.
and not letting external circumstances dictate our happiness.
Exactly. He believes that Stoicism can provide a framework for navigating adversity, maintaining inner peace, and living a life of purpose and meaning.
He also talks about connecting with one's heritage, understanding and appreciating the traditions that have shaped our culture.
He believes that this connection to our past can provide us with a sense of belonging, identity, and purpose.
Now, Riker is a big advocate for men being actively involved in shaping the future, not just sitting back and letting things happen.
He emphasizes the importance of political engagement, participating in the democratic process, and advocating for policies that align with our values.
So it's about taking ownership of our communities and working towards creating a world that we want to live in.
Exactly. He also stresses the importance of community involvement, contributing to the well-being of our neighborhoods and cities.
He even goes so far as to say that men need to be prepared to defend their rights and freedoms.
He sees this as a crucial aspect of reclaiming sovereignty, of ensuring that men have a voice and aren't marginalized in a world that's constantly changing.
This leads back to those roles he outlined for men in society: the guardian, the mentor, the explorer, and the prophet.
He sees each of those roles as playing a vital part in shaping a better future. The guardian protects and serves, the mentor guides, and teaches. The explorer seeks knowledge and understanding, and the prophet speaks truth to power.
Let's delve a little deeper into those roles, starting with the guardian. It seems particularly relevant in today's world with so much uncertainty and unrest.
Absolutely. Riker argues that men are naturally inclined towards protecting and serving, and those instincts are essential for maintaining order and security in society.
He uses examples like law enforcement and the military, right? Those roles that require strength and courage.
Exactly. He acknowledges the physical and mental demands of those roles, the discipline and resilience required. But he also highlights the emotional and spiritual challenges, the need for a strong sense of purpose.
So it's not just about being physically strong, but also having the mental and emotional fortitude to handle the challenges of being a protector.
Right. He argues that these roles can be incredibly fulfilling, offering a sense of meaning that's hard to find elsewhere. But he also recognizes the sacrifices involved.
Now, the mentor role seems particularly important for passing on those values and traditions that Riker talks so much about.
He believes that young men need strong male role models to guide them, to teach them valuable life lessons, and help them navigate the challenges of manhood.
It's about sharing those experiences, both the successes and the failures, so the next generation can learn from them.
He also acknowledges the challenges of being a mentor in today's world, where traditional values are often questioned, but he encourages men to step up and embrace this role.
It's about passing on that wisdom and guidance even when it's difficult.
And then we have the explorer or philosopher, the archetype that's driven by a thirst for knowledge and understanding.
That one resonates with me personally. I've always loved learning new things and exploring different ideas.
Riker argues that men are naturally curious, driven to explore and discover. He emphasizes the importance of intellectual curiosity, seeking out knowledge and engaging with ideas that challenge our assumptions.
It's about expanding our horizons and
Yeah.
pushing the boundaries of what we know, right?
He sees that archetype as vital for innovation progress and the evolution of society.
Yeah.
It's about questioning the status quo and seeking out new solutions to the challenges we face.
And finally, we have Prophet, the truth teller, who challenges prevailing narratives and speaks up for what he believes in, even when it's unpopular.
That's a role that requires immense courage and integrity. Riker acknowledges that it can be a lonely path, often met with resistance and criticism.
But it's about standing up for what's right, even when it's hard.
Exactly. He encourages men to embrace this role, to speak their truth and advocate for what they believe in, even when it's difficult.
Now, all these roles tie into Riker's discussion of leadership, which he sees as an essential quality for men.
He argues that true leadership is not about dominance or control, but about serving others, inspiring them, and guiding them towards a common goal.
So it's not about being the boss, but about inspiring and motivating others to achieve something greater than themselves.
He talks about the importance of integrity, courage, decisiveness, and vision as qualities of effective leadership. But he also emphasizes humility, recognizing that a leader is not above others, but is there to serve them.
He seems to advocate for what's often called servant leadership, putting the needs of others before your own.
Now, this brings us to a topic that's often debated, the connection between masculinity and leadership. Riker believes there's a natural link between the two.
He's suggesting that men are inherently predisposed to leadership roles.
He argues that throughout history, men have predominantly held those positions of leadership in societies and institutions.
It's a controversial topic, especially given the push for more gender equality in leadership roles.
He acknowledges that it's a sensitive subject. He's not saying that women are incapable of leadership, but he believes men have certain strengths and inclinations that make them well suited for those roles. He sees those qualities, assertiveness, risk-taking, goal orientation, as often being beneficial in leadership positions.
So he's not trying to exclude women from leadership roles, but rather highlight those strengths that men can bring to the table.
Exactly. He believes that recognizing those strengths is important for creating a more balanced and effective approach to leadership.
Now, Riker also spends a lot of time discussing the challenges men face in today's world, especially when it comes to embracing those leadership roles.
He argues that the modern cultural climate often discourages men from expressing their masculinity and taking on traditional leadership roles.
He points to the rise of ideologies that challenge those traditional notions of masculinity and leadership.
Right. Yes, he specifically mentions feminism and cultural Marxism as having contributed to this shift.
He also talks about the feminization of education and the workplace leading to a more risk-averse and less assertive environment.
He encourages men to push back against these trends, to reclaim their natural leadership abilities, and to be bold and assertive in pursuing their goals.
So it's about having the confidence to step up and lead, even when it's challenging or unpopular.
Exactly. He believes that by embracing those leadership qualities, men can help create a more balanced and prosperous society.
Riker also dedicates a significant portion of the book to discussing fatherhood, a role he sees as central to a man's purpose and identity.
He argues that being a father is one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences a man can have. It demands deep commitment, unwavering love, and a willingness to sacrifice.
He talks about the importance of providing for one's family, being a protector, a provider, and a guide.
He believes that men have a primal instinct to provide and protect, and that fatherhood allows them to express that instinct in a meaningful way.
He also acknowledges the challenges that fathers face in today's world. The pressures of work life balance the influence of technology on family life and the evolving social landscape.
He encourages fathers to be present, engaged, and involved in their children's lives, emphasizing quality time, open communication, and setting a positive example.
It's about being a role model, not just a provider. He seems to believe that fatherhood is a profound responsibility, one that shapes not only the lives of our children, but also our own lives as men.
Absolutely. He sees it as a legacy-building endeavor, a way to pass on our values, our knowledge, and our love to the next generation.
Now, Riker also delves into the impact of societal changes on the role of men in the family, particularly in the context of women entering the workforce.
He acknowledges that this shift has led to a blurring of traditional gender roles, creating some confusion and uncertainty for men about their place and purpose within the family.
It's a topic that's caused a lot of discussion and debate. What's Riker's take on it?
He suggests that this blurring of roles has contributed to a decline in fatherhood as men struggle to reconcile their traditional roles with the changing dynamics of modern families. He also points to the rise of single-parent households and divorce as evidence of the challenges facing families today.
So he's acknowledging the difficulties, but also encouraging men to adapt and find their place within these evolving family structures.
Exactly. He believes that men can still find ways to express their masculinity and fulfill their roles as fathers, even within a context of changing social norms.
He emphasizes the importance of adapting those traditional roles to fit the modern world.
Right. It's about finding a balance between holding on to those core values of fatherhood, protecting, guiding, while also being flexible and adaptable to the realities of modern family life.
Now, Riker also connects these ideas about masculinity and purpose to the world of work and the economy.
He argues that work is essential for men's well-being, providing a sense of purpose, identity, and accomplishment. He talks about the historical role of men as providers, tracing it back to ancient times.
That instinct to provide, to be the breadwinner, is deeply ingrained in many men.
He believes it's a fundamental aspect of masculinity and that it's still a powerful force in men's lives today, even though the nature of work has changed dramatically.
He does acknowledge those challenges.
No, absolutely.
The decline of traditional blue-collar jobs, the rise of automation, the competitive job market.
He sees those as real challenges, but he also encourages men to be adaptable, embrace new skills and industries, and be persistent in pursuing work that's meaningful to them.
So it's about finding purpose and fulfillment in work, even if it doesn't look like the traditional jobs our fathers or grandfathers had.
He emphasizes the importance of aligning your work with your values and passions. That's key to finding satisfaction and fulfillment in your career, regardless of the field.
Now, Riker also delves into the changing nature of work and how that impacts men's identity and purpose.
He argues that the shift from a primarily industrial economy to a more knowledge-based and service-oriented one has created challenges for men who are traditionally drawn to physically demanding jobs.
There's definitely been a shift away from those traditional blue-collar roles, and it's left some men feeling lost and unsure of their place in the workforce.
He acknowledges that sense of disenfranchisement, and he points to the rise of the gig economy and remote work as further blurring the lines between work and personal life. It's a whole new world of work, and it requires a new set of skills and adaptations.
So what's his advice for men who are struggling to find their place in this new economic landscape?
He encourages them to embrace lifelong learning, to develop new skills, and to find ways to create purpose and meaning within their work, regardless of its nature. It's about finding that sense of fulfillment, even if the work itself isn't traditionally masculine.
It's about adapting, evolving, and finding new ways to express those core values of hard work and providing for oneself and one's family.
He also explores the impact of technology on the economy, highlighting both the challenges and the opportunities it presents.
Technology has definitely disrupted many traditional industries, both creating new jobs and displacing others.
He talks about the rise of automation and artificial intelligence, which have the potential to displace workers in various fields.
That's a valid concern. As technology advances, it's bound to impact the workforce in significant ways.
But he also highlights the opportunities that technology creates, the new jobs emerging in fields like software development, data analysis, and digital marketing. It's not all doom and gloom.
So it's about being proactive, staying ahead of the curve, and developing the skills needed to thrive in a technology-driven world.
Exactly. He encourages men to embrace these opportunities, to be adaptable, innovative, and entrepreneurial in their approach to work.
Now, Riker also emphasizes the importance of men being involved in politics, shaping the future, and advocating for the values that matter most to them.
He argues that men have a duty to engage in the political process, to advocate for their beliefs, and to work towards creating a society that aligns with those beliefs.
It's about being active participants in shaping the world we want to live in. He talks a lot about the historical role of men in shaping governments and societies, doesn't he?
He sees it as a continuation of that legacy. He believes that men have a responsibility to step up and use their voices and their influence to make a positive impact on the world.
He also talks a lot about men's rights and freedoms, advocating for policies that protect those rights and promote a more just and equitable society.
He is a firm believer in individual liberty and personal responsibility. He encourages men to be informed, to understand the issues, and to make their voices heard in the political arena.
He even suggests that men should be willing to defend those rights and freedoms if necessary.
He sees that as a last resort, but he believes that men have a duty to stand up for what they believe in, even if it means taking a stand against those in power. It's about having the courage to speak out against injustice and to fight for what's right.
Now, Riker also delves into some of the challenges that men face in the political arena.
He argues that men's voices are often marginalized in contemporary political discourse, that their concerns are often dismissed or minimized.
It does seem like there's a certain narrative that dominates the political landscape, and it doesn't always align with the experiences and perspectives of many men.
He points to the rise of ideologies that he sees as hostile to men, specifically mentioning radical feminism and cultural Marxism.
Those ideologies have definitely gained traction in recent years, and their influence can be seen in many aspects of our culture and politics.
He also criticizes the way men are often portrayed in the media, suggesting that it creates a negative stereotype and makes it more difficult for men to advocate for their interests effectively.
It's about recognizing those biases and pushing back against them,
Absolutely.
making sure that men's voices are heard and their perspectives are considered in the political process.
He encourages men to engage in respectful dialogue, present evidence-based arguments, and build coalitions with like-minded individuals to make their voices heard and influence the political process.
It's about being assertive, but also being respectful and engaging in constructive dialogue. Now, Riker also talks about the importance of mentorship, both giving and receiving guidance and support from other men.
He believes that mentorship is essential for young men, providing them with role models and helping them to develop into strong, responsible, and successful adults.
It's about passing on that wisdom and experience those life lessons that can't be learned from a textbook.
He talks about the importance of older men sharing their knowledge and experience with younger men, guiding them on their journey to manhood.
It's about building those bonds between generations, creating a sense of continuity and shared experience.
He acknowledges that finding mentors can be challenging in today's world, where traditional hierarchies are often questioned. But he encourages men to actively seek out those mentors who embody the qualities they admire.
It's about being proactive, reaching out to those who inspire us, and being willing to learn from their experiences.
And it's not just about receiving mentorship, it's also about being a mentor to others. Riker believes that men have a responsibility to share their wisdom and experience with the next generation.
It's about paying it forward, investing in the future, and helping to shape the next generation of men.
Now, all of these ideas tie into Riker's emphasis on lifelong learning, which he sees as crucial for personal growth, professional success, and navigating the ever-changing world.
It's about constantly seeking knowledge, expanding our horizons, and adapting to the challenges and opportunities that life throws our way.
He argues that learning shouldn't be confined to formal education, but should be an ongoing pursuit throughout our lives.
It's about being curious, seeking out new information, and constantly challenging ourselves to learn and grow.
He talks about the benefits of reading, researching, attending workshops, and engaging in other activities that expand our knowledge, skills, and perspectives.
It's about embracing a growth mindset, being open to new ideas, and never stopping learning.
He also emphasizes the importance of being open to new ideas, challenging our assumptions, and being willing to adapt and evolve as we learn and grow.
It's about being flexible, recognizing that we don't have all the answers, and being open to changing our minds when presented with new information.
Now, Riker also points out some challenges that men face when it comes to pursuing lifelong learning.
He argues that the modern world often prioritizes entertainment and instant gratification over deep thinking and intellectual pursuits, right?
Exactly. He points to the distractions of technology, social media, and the constant bombardment of information, which can make it difficult to focus on sustained learning.
It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of daily life and lose sight of the importance of learning and personal growth.
He also suggests that men are sometimes discouraged from pursuing intellectual interests that are perceived as unmasculine or nerdy.
It's about breaking down those stereotypes and recognizing that intellectual curiosity and a thirst for knowledge are valuable qualities for men, regardless of what those interests might be.
He encourages men to resist those pressures and to embrace their natural curiosity. He believes that by cultivating a love of learning, men can unlock their full potential.
Now, Riker doesn't just talk about acquiring knowledge, he also emphasizes the importance of developing wisdom.
He sees wisdom as going beyond mere knowledge and intelligence, encompassing experience, judgment, and the ability to apply knowledge effectively in real-world situations.
It's about taking what we learn and using it to make sound decisions, navigate challenging situations, and live a more fulfilling life.
He discusses the role of mentors. role models and life experiences in shaping our wisdom, suggesting that we learn not just from books, but from the people we meet and the challenges we overcome.
It's about learning from our mistakes, reflecting on our experiences, and seeking guidance from those who have walked the path before us.
He also emphasizes the importance of self-reflection, introspection, and the willingness to learn from our mistakes.
It's about being honest with ourselves, recognizing our shortcomings, and being open to growing and changing as we learn and evolve.
Riker believes that developing wisdom is an ongoing process, a lifelong journey of self-discovery, growth, and learning.
It's about constantly striving to become better versions of ourselves, both intellectually and morally.
And he suggests that by cultivating wisdom, men can make better decisions, navigate life's complexities, and contribute to a more just and harmonious world.
Now, Riker also explores the role of philosophy in developing wisdom, suggesting that it can provide us with valuable insights for understanding ourselves and our place in the world.
He delves into various philosophical schools of thought, highlighting their key principles and their relevance to the challenges of modern life. He discusses Stoicism, existentialism, and Buddhism, among others.
It's about exploring those big questions, the fundamental questions about meaning, purpose, and existence that have intrigued philosophers for centuries.
He also emphasizes the importance of developing a personal philosophy, a set of guiding principles that inform our decisions and actions.
It's about defining our values, clarifying our beliefs, and creating a framework for how we want to live our lives.
He encourages men to engage with philosophical ideas, question their assumptions, and develop their own understanding of the complexities of human existence.
It's about thinking critically, challenging our beliefs, and being open to different perspectives.
Now, this connects to Riker's discussion about men embracing their role as truth seekers, which he sees as crucial for achieving personal sovereignty and contributing to a more just world.
It's about being honest, seeking out the truth, and standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult.
He argues that men have a natural inclination towards seeking truth and justice, an instinct that has been a driving force behind many of the advancements and achievements throughout history.
It's about questioning authority, challenging the status quo, and refusing to accept things blindly.
He discusses the role of critical thinking skepticism and the willingness to challenge prevailing narratives in the pursuit of truth.
It's about being discerning, evaluating evidence, and forming our own conclusions based on facts and logic, not just on emotion or popular opinion.
He also emphasizes the importance of being objective, seeking out evidence, and being willing to change our minds when presented with new information.
It's about being open-minded, recognizing that we don't have all the answers and being willing to admit when we're wrong.
And he encourages men to be courageous in the pursuit of truth, to stand up for what they believe in, even when it's unpopular or controversial.
It's about having the courage of our convictions, speaking out against injustice, and fighting for what's right even when it's difficult or dangerous.
Now, Riker doesn't shy away from acknowledging the challenges that men face in pursuing truth in the modern world.
He talks about the information overload, the difficulty of separating fact from fiction in a world of constant news and social media.
He argues that we live in an era of misinformation and propaganda where it's easy to be misled or manipulated.
It's about being critical consumers of informations, developing those critical thinking skills, and learning to discern truth from falsehood.
He points to the influence of social media, the 24-hour news cycle, and the increasing polarization of political and social discourse, which often make it difficult to find objective and balanced information.
It's about being aware of those biases, seeking out diverse perspectives, and engaging in respectful dialogue with those who hold different views.
He also points out that men are often discouraged from speaking out against prevailing narratives, especially those that challenge the status quo or question established power structures.
There's definitely a pressure to conform, to go along with the crowd, and to avoid rocking the boat. But Riker encourages men to resist those pressures and to speak their truth even when it's uncomfortable.
He believes that men have a responsibility to challenge those narratives that are harmful, misleading, or unjust.
It's about being courageous, speaking truth to power, and holding those in authority accountable. Now, all of these ideas tie back to Riker's central theme of men embracing their role as leaders, both in their personal lives and in the wider world.
He sees leadership as an essential aspect of masculinity, a way for men to use their strengths and talents to create a better future for themselves, their families, and society as a whole.
He argues that men are naturally inclined towards leadership roles, and that throughout history they have predominantly held positions of power and authority.
He sees that as a reflection of men's innate qualities, their strength, their courage, their decisiveness, their vision.
He acknowledges that the definition of leadership has evolved over time and that it's not always about holding a formal position of authority.
He talks about the importance of leadership in families, in communities, in workplaces, in all aspects of life.
It's about stepping up, taking responsibility, and inspiring others to achieve common goals.
He discusses those qualities that are essential for effective leadership: integrity, courage, decisiveness, vision, and the ability to inspire and motivate others.
It's about setting a good example, being a role model, and guiding others towards a better future.
He also emphasizes the importance of servant leadership, of putting the needs of others before one's own, and using one's power and influence to serve the greater good.
It's about leading with humility, recognizing that true leadership is about service, not about self-aggrandizement or control.
Now, Riker also acknowledges the challenges that men face in embracing their leadership roles in the modern world.
He talks about the cultural climate, the pushback against traditional masculinity, and the difficulty of navigating those shifting expectations.
He argues that the modern cultural climate often discourages men from expressing their masculinity and from taking on those traditional leadership roles. He points to the rise of ideologies that challenge traditional gender roles and hierarchies.
He specifically mentions feminism and cultural Marxism as contributing to this shift.
He suggests that these ideologies have led to a more egalitarian society, which is a positive development in many ways, but he also argues that it has sometimes come at the expense of men's natural leadership abilities.
It's a complex issue, and there's no easy answer. But it's about finding that balance between promoting equality and recognizing the unique strengths that men bring to the table.
He encourages men to resist those pressures, to embrace their masculinity, and to be bold and assertive in their leadership.
It's about having the courage to step up and lead, even when it's challenging or unpopular.
Yeah.
It's about being confident in your abilities and using your strengths to make a positive impact on the world.
Now, Riker also talks about the importance of men shaping the future, using their strengths and talents to create a better world for themselves, their families, and future generations.
He sees it as a responsibility, a duty to use those gifts and abilities to make a positive difference.
He argues that men have a unique perspective and set of skills that are essential for addressing the challenges facing our world: technological advancements, economic inequality, political polarization.
He's talking about those big, complex issues that require creative solutions and bold leadership.
He discusses the role of innovation, entrepreneurship, and leadership in shaping the future. He believes that men have a natural inclination towards those areas and that they can use their creativity, ingenuity, and drive to make a positive impact.
It's about being proactive, being solution-oriented, and being willing to take risks to create something new and better.
He also highlights men's involvement in education, mentorship, and community building as crucial avenues for shaping the next generation.
It's about investing in the future, guiding and supporting the next generation of men and women, and building strong and vibrant communities.
He encourages men to be active participants in shaping the future, to be bold in their thinking, and to be fearless in pursuing their dreams.
It's about having a vision, setting goals, and working tirelessly to achieve them. It's about leaving a legacy, about making a lasting contribution to the world.
Now let's delve into some specific ways that Riker believes men can shape the future.
He emphasizes the importance of STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, arguing that those areas are essential for. It seems like those fields are where a lot of the innovation and problem solving are happening these days. They're going to be crucial for shaping the future.
Absolutely. He sees those fields as essential for driving progress and finding solutions to some of the most pressing challenges facing humanity.
Right, climate change advancements, medicine, space exploration, all that.
Yeah, exactly. Those are areas where men can really make a difference using their skills and talents to push the boundaries of human knowledge and create a better future.
Riker also talks about the importance of entrepreneurship, creating jobs, fostering economic growth, and finding solutions to those pressing societal problems.
He sees entrepreneurship as a powerful engine for positive change, both in terms of individual fulfillment and societal progress.
It's about taking initiative, being creative, and having the courage to take risks to build something new.
He encourages men to embrace their natural risk-taking abilities and pursue their entrepreneurial dreams. He acknowledges that it's not always easy, but he believes the rewards are well worth the effort.
It's about having a vision and being willing to work hard to make that vision a reality. Now, Riker also advocates for men being active in politics, not just voting, but actually getting involved in shaping policies and advocating for those values they believe in.
He sees political engagement as a vital aspect of responsible citizenship, especially for men who he believes have a duty to shape the future of their communities and nations.
He believes that men have a duty to engage in the political process, right? To stand up for what they believe in and to work towards a better future for their families and communities.
Absolutely. He encourages men to be informed to understand the issues at stake and to make their voices heard through voting, advocacy, and even running for office.
He's particularly passionate about advocating for policies that promote economic opportunity, individual liberty, and a strong national defense.
Those are definitely areas where he sees a need for strong male leadership and involvement. Now, shifting gears a bit, Riker also dedicates a significant portion of the book to this idea of men embracing their role as protectors. It seems like a primal instinct that's deeply ingrained in many men.
There's something about that instinct to shield those we love from harm, to provide safety and security for our families and communities.
He argues that it's a fundamental aspect of masculinity rooted in that ancient role of men as warriors and protectors, defending their communities from threats.
It's interesting how he connects those ancient roles to the modern world. The nature of threats has certainly changed, but that protective instinct remains.
He acknowledges that the challenges we face today are often different, but that instinct to protect is still a powerful force in men's lives. He suggests that men can protect their families and communities in many ways, not just through physical strength.
So it's about being financially responsible, providing emotional support, standing up for what's right, being a source of strength and stability.
Exactly. It's about using our strengths, whatever those strengths may be, to create a sense of security and well-being for those we care about.
Now, Riker also acknowledges that there are challenges to fulfilling that protector role in the modern world.
He argues that the current cultural climate often discourages men from expressing their masculinity and taking on traditional protective roles. He points to the rise of ideologies that challenge traditional gender roles.
There's definitely a lot of debate these days about what it means to be a man, and sometimes those traditional roles are seen as outdated or even harmful.
He suggests that those traditional roles are often misunderstood and that they can be adapted to fit the modern world.
So it's not about clinging to outdated notions of masculinity, but about recognizing those core values of strength, courage, and responsibility, and finding ways to express them in a way that's relevant to our lives today.
Exactly. It's about finding a balance between honoring those timeless principles and adapting to the evolving realities of the 21st century.
Along with being protectors, Riker also stresses the importance of men embracing their role as mentors, guiding and supporting the next generation of men. He seems to believe it's crucial for passing on those values and experiences.
Mentorship is a powerful way for men to make a lasting impact, shaping the lives of younger men and ensuring the transmission of those essential values and principles.
It seems like there's a real hunger for that kind of guidance these days. Young men are looking for those role models, those mentors who can help them navigate the complexities of life.
He argues that young men need those strong male role models to look up to learn from, and to inspire them.
It's about sharing those life lessons, those experiences, both the successes and the failures, that can help shape a young man's character and guide him on his path to manhood.
He talks about the importance of passing on knowledge skills, values those things that can't be learned from a textbook or a YouTube video.
It's about that personal connection, that bond between generations of men where those experiences and that wisdom are passed down.
He also stresses the importance of providing emotional support, encouragement, and guidance, especially during those difficult teenage years when young men are trying to figure out who they are and what their place in the world is.
It's about being that steady presence, that listening ear, that source of strength and encouragement that can make all the difference in a young man's life.
Right. It's about being that positive influence, that guiding force that helps young men to develop into strong, responsible, and well-rounded individuals.
Now, along those lines, Riker introduces this idea of the warrior's code, which he argues is a mindset, a way of approaching life's challenges with courage, discipline, and honor.
He sees the warrior's code as a set of principles that can guide men in all aspects of their lives, providing them with a framework for facing adversity with strength, resilience, and integrity.
It's about having that inner strength, that resilience, that determination to overcome obstacles and achieve your goals.
He draws inspiration from those historical examples like the Spartans and the samurai, those warriors who embodied a code of conduct that emphasized self-mastery, loyalty, and unwavering dedication.
It's about having that moral compass, that sense of duty, that commitment to something greater than yourself.
Exactly. It's about living a life of purpose and meaning, striving for excellence in all that you do, and always upholding those values of honor, integrity, and courage.
He talks about facing adversity head-on, not shrinking from challenges, but using them as opportunities for growth and self-improvement. He argues that this warrior mindset is essential for men today, especially in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain.
He believes that by embracing this warrior's code, men can develop the inner strength and resilience they need to navigate the challenges of modern life and emerge stronger on the other side.
It's about having that inner strength, that grit, that determination to push through those difficult times and emerge stronger on the other side.
It's about embracing those challenges as opportunities for growth, recognizing that adversity can forge character and build resilience.
He also emphasizes the importance of physical fitness, suggesting that a strong body reflects a strong mind and spirit.
He sees physical fitness as an essential aspect of overall well-being, contributing to not only physical health, but also mental clarity, emotional stability, and spiritual grounding.
It's about taking care of your physical health, pushing your limits, and developing that strength and resilience that are essential for facing any challenge that life throws your way.
It's about pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, testing your limits, and discovering that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible.
Now, Riker doesn't just focus on the physical and mental aspects of this warrior's path. He also delves into the spiritual dimension.
He believes that true strength and resilience come from a deep connection to something greater than oneself, a sense of purpose and meaning that transcends the material world.
It seems like he sees that as a crucial element, a way to ground that warrior's code in something deeper than just self-preservation or conquest.
Exactly. He's talking about cultivating a spiritual practice that aligns with your values and beliefs, whether that's through meditation, prayer, spending time in nature, or connecting with a community of like-minded individuals.
It's about finding that inner peace, that sense of purpose, that connection to something greater than yourself that gives you the strength and the motivation to face those challenges and overcome those obstacles.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Sovereignty Restored, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What are some of the key takeaways that resonated with you?
Well, I'm really struck by this idea of embracing what Riker calls the fullness of masculinity. It's not about fitting into a narrow stereotype, but about tapping into that full spectrum of qualities that make us men.
It's about recognizing that strength and vulnerability, courage and compassion, assertiveness and empathy are not mutually exclusive, but can coexist within a healthy and integrated sense of self.
And it's about taking responsibility for our own lives, not blaming others for our circumstances, but choosing to be active agents in shaping our own destiny.
He challenges men to step up, to embrace their full potential, and to create a world that reflects those values of strength, integrity, and purpose.
It's been a truly enlightening conversation. I feel like I've gained some valuable insights into the complexities of masculinity and the challenges and opportunities facing men today.
It's been a pleasure discussing these important ideas with you. I hope our listeners have found this deep dive thought-provoking and empowering.
If you're interested in exploring these ideas further, we highly recommend checking out Sovereignty Restored by Conrad Riker. It's available on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
It's a book that will challenge you, inspire you, and perhaps even change your life.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep striving for that personal sovereignty, keep pushing those boundaries, and keep embracing the fullness of your masculinity.
Be strong, be courageous, and be the best man you can be.